I stood there in that go-doffel sweater vest, holding a damn novelty t-shirt that said "Now Jobless" in giant red letters across the chest. Everyone laughed. Loud. The kind of laugh that echoes, too long, too sharp, like they'd all been waiting for that exact moment. And when I looked over at Tara, she was laughing too. Not a polite chuckle, not a nervous smile. Full-on shoulders shaking, wine glass in hand laughter. My name's Josh. I'm 34 years old, and I live in Mountain View, California. This was Tara's family's annual Christmas bash, a black-tie circus disguised as a party. Her dad, Charles Whitmore, ran Whitmore Technologies, and they acted like they ran the damn world. Everything at this party screamed money. The catered sushi bar, the ice sculpture shaped like the company logo, the parking lot filled with cars that cost more than my house. And then Rachel, Tara's younger sister, who joined the company just 11 months ago, walks into a round of applause, keys to a brand new $60,000 Lexus dangling from her fingers. "Congrats to our new VP of Product Strategy," someone yelled. Champagne popped. Hugs. Toasts. And right there in the middle of it all, Tara glowing like it was her promotion. Quick note, before we go any further, share which city or country you're watching from. I kept my mouth shut, like always. I'd worked for this company for over 7 years, built the damn cloud infrastructure they now run every division on. But when I got laid off 3 months ago, they called it a strategic reorg. No severance. No acknowledgement. No thank you. Just boxed up my desk and vanished me from the Slack channels. And this gift? A gag t-shirt and a $2 bill taped to the inside of the gift bag. Rachel snorted. Charles raised his glass and called it entrepreneurial motivation. Tara? She kissed my cheek and said, "Lighten up, babe, it's just a joke." My fists clenched before I even knew they had. I dropped the shirt in the bag, shoved it under the table, and slipped out the side door. No goodbye, no scene, just straight to the valet line, heart pounding in my ears. I didn't even look back. I got in my car and pulled away from that mansion so fast I nearly clipped the mailbox. I could still hear them laughing as I turned the corner. Meanwhile, back inside, Charles's phone rang. His assistant rushed in, whispering something serious. He stiffened, stood up, and told someone to gather the boardroom. I gripped the wheel tighter and drove. I didn't know what the hell was going down, but I knew this. Something was about to snap. The taillights from that mansion disappeared in my rear view, but the pit in my gut didn't. I gripped the wheel like it owed me answers. My phone buzzed in the center console, probably some half-assed apology from Tara or another group chat blowing up with Rachel's big moment. I didn't check it. Couldn't. My brain was still trying to process what the hell just happened. 7 years of my life poured into that company. Late nights, endless bugs, infrastructure overhauls, all flushed down the drain. And now I was the punchline. Back at Whitmore HQ, 30 minutes away, Charles stormed into the boardroom like a general heading into war. His assistant, Max, followed close behind, tablet in hand, voice low and tense. "It's the Department of Energy contract," Max said. "We've got flagged compliance gaps in the data encryption layer, Josh's layer." Charles's jaw locked. "I thought that was handled." "No, sir. Josh raised the issue 4 months ago. Owen marked it low priority." Charles didn't respond right away. He stood at the head of the long glass table, staring out the floor-to-ceiling window at the San Jose skyline. His phone buzzed again and again. The glow from the screen lit up his face, jaw twitching as the situation snowballed. Meanwhile, back at the party, they'd finally moved on from humiliating me to the main event. Rachel stood at the front of the room, holding her champagne glass like she was holding an Oscar. Cameras flashed. Tara clapped like a seal at SeaWorld. Charles's voice came over the loudspeakers, not in person, but piped in from the boardroom. "Tonight, we recognize a new leader in innovation, someone who truly represents the future of Whitmore Technologies. Rachel Whitmore, our new VP of Product Strategy." Applause. Cheers. A few people stood. Then he added, "Unlike some of us, Rachel didn't wait around for a handout or a participation trophy." Another laugh. Louder this time. My name wasn't said, but everyone knew who he meant. I was the joke that just kept on giving. I hit a red light and stared at the empty crosswalk. That one sentence hit harder than the t-shirt. Harder than Tara's laugh. This wasn't just disrespect. This was a goddamn burial. Rachel had only been at the company for 11 months. 11. She came in with a marketing degree and a LinkedIn bio full of buzzwords. I built the back-end systems that landed that government deal in the first place. Without me, the whole platform would have collapsed under its own weight. And now the very contract I secured was unraveling, because they ignored the warnings I gave them, because I wasn't family enough. Back in the boardroom, Charles's temper finally cracked. He slammed his hand on the table. Give me the legal team now, and tell Owen to get his ass in here before we lose this damn contract. Max nodded and darted out. Charles loosened his tie and muttered, should have never trusted a coder with a conscience. I turned into the freeway on-ramp and floored it, the engine growling like it shared my anger. My hands were sweaty on the wheel, jaw locked so tight it ached. Everything I gave that company, the patents, the fixes, the nights I missed sleep and meals, it was nothing to them. Disposable. And Tara? She was too busy taking selfies with her sister to notice I'd left. Or maybe she noticed and just didn't care. Another message buzzed in. This one from someone I hadn't heard from in a while, Miguel Alvarez. Didn't open it yet. Just saw the name. But that was enough to make me exhale for the first time in an hour. I didn't open Miguel's message right away. Just seeing his name lit something in my chest, like a flicker of air in a sealed-off room. But I couldn't let it distract me yet. My head was still pounding from everything that just went down. That stupid t-shirt. The way Rachel soaked up the spotlight like she'd built the company with her bare hands. Tara, laughing with the rest of them, like I was nothing. I took the next exit without thinking, engine still hot, tires humming. I needed to breathe. I pulled into the parking lot of a 24-hour diner just off the freeway. Neon sign buzzing. Empty booths. A tired-looking waitress wiping down a counter inside. I didn't go in. Just parked. Left the engine running. Sat there with the kind of anger that makes your teeth hurt. The t-shirt wouldn't leave my head. Now jobless. They thought that was funny. They planned it. Somebody spent time designing that crap, ordering it, wrapping it in a nice little gift bag with a damn $2 bill taped inside. They didn't just forget me. They made a show out of spitting on me. I leaned back in my seat, hands in my lap, and just stared through the windshield. The glass was fogging from my breath. My chest felt tight. I started thinking about those years I gave them. Not months, years. Overnight server migrations. Crashed systems at 3 a.m. Tech audits for million-dollar clients that I pulled off by myself, while half the exec team was still on vacation in Napa. I remember one night, Tara was already asleep. I was on my third energy drink, trying to finish a critical deployment by morning. I'd been coding for 18 hours straight. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Just kept going because if I didn't, the whole platform would have tanked during beta. I saved them more than once. No one clapped. No one gave me a shiny Lexus or a promotion speech. Hell, they barely gave me a thank you. And Tara? She used to say stuff like, you work too much, or, why can't you just log off for one night? Like I was obsessed. Like it was my fault I carried the weight of the company while her family collected the checks. But she never minded the money. She never complained when I paid off her student loans. Or when we upgraded to that house in Los Altos. The tech that bought that house. I built it. Brick by brick. Line by line. She never gave that a second thought. My phone buzzed again. This time, I swiped it open. Miguel's message popped up. Heard what happened. Been meaning to reach out. Can we talk? I hesitated. I hadn't talked to Miguel in maybe 4 years. We were tight back in college. Roommates. Built a few apps together before going our separate ways. I went in-house. He went startup. Apparently, he made it big. I tapped out a quick reply. Yeah, I got time now. The phone rang less than a minute later. Dude, Miguel said. I just saw the video from that Christmas party. Are they seriously handing out joke gifts now? Yeah. Guess humiliation's the new company culture, I said. Man, listen, I've been following your work. Even after you left, they kept using your systems. I know because we just inherited one of their old clients. They're still running your code, and it's solid. I didn't say anything. I want to make you an offer, he said. Come work with me at ArcVantage. We'll give you the freedom to build what you want. No politics. No backroom family bullshit *T. We respect skill here. And you'd be coming in high, not as an employee, as a partner. My throat tightened. I swallowed hard. That's a big move. Yeah, it is, he said. But they don't deserve you. We do. I looked out at the diner again. A couple of guys walked in, laughing, steam rising off their jackets. Inside looked warm. Real. Honest. My pride didn't want to say yes. Not tonight. Not while I was still bleeding from the crap Tara and her family pulled. But something about the way Miguel said partner, it hit different. Like a door cracking open. I'll think about it, I said. Good. Just don't wait too long. People like you don't stay unemployed for long unless you choose to. We hung up. I sat there for a while. Engine idling. Fingers tapping the steering wheel. The rage was still there, but now it had somewhere to go. I pulled into the driveway around 12:30. The house was dark. Porch light off. Front window glowing faint blue from the TV. Tara probably fell asleep too. My chest tightened the second I stepped inside. Silence. That kind of silence that feels like a warning. Her heels were by the couch. The TV was still on some home renovation show, and an empty wine glass sat on the end table. I peeked down the hallway. Bedroom door cracked open, light off. She was asleep. Of course she was. I dropped my keys on the counter and stood there a minute, still in my shoes. My hands were shaking. Not from cold, from everything else. The noise in my head wouldn't stop. Her laugh. Rachel's Lexus. Charles's voice over the speakers. That t-shirt. I sat down at the kitchen island, pulled out my phone, and opened Miguel's text thread. Let's talk more. I'm interested, but I need time. This one's personal. I hit send and waited. Nothing right away. I opened my laptop, still running the last script I'd been testing before the layoff. The same software they were now using to keep that precious government contract running. I started pulling files, scanning through the back-end logs, patent filings, contribution records, anything with my name on it. Most of it didn't have my name. That's what pissed me off most. Half the infrastructure Whitmore runs on today came from code I wrote. I built the first-gen data encryption module from scratch. I redesigned the scalability model after Charles tanked the second quarter numbers and needed to cut costs without losing speed. I created proprietary deployment tools they still used, with zero attribution. But when I got laid off, none of it mattered. I clicked through the patent registry next. For key systems were filed under the company, not me, even though the original commits came from my account. I pulled the timestamps, exported the Git logs, matched my digital signature. I started a new doc, logging every one of them. With screenshots. With dates. I wasn't going to let them erase me and laugh while doing it. I stayed up for hours. Just me, the soft hum of the fridge, and the glow of my screen. At one point I looked up, and it was almost 4. That's when my phone buzzed again. Miguel, take the time you need. Just know, we're ready to make room for you. Equity, ownership, the whole thing. We need someone who can build, not just play politics. I stared at that message for a long time. No one at Whitmore had ever said anything like that to me. Not once in 7 years. I was always the guy in IT, even when I was leading 2 product teams and holding the entire damn system together with duct tape and brute force. I opened the doc I'd been working on. My name, my code, my ownership. I wasn't going to just walk away and leave them with it. If I moved to ArcVantage, I was going to do it right. No loose ends. No leverage left behind. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't thinking like an employee. I was thinking like someone who had options. I sat back in my chair and rubbed my eyes. I wasn't naive. This was going to get messy. But I wasn't afraid of messy. I'd lived in it for years, being the silent fixer behind Tara's high-gloss family business. Now, I was done fixing. Miguel sent one more message before I shut the laptop for the night. You come here, we build your vision. Not theirs. I didn't smile. Not yet. But I felt something shift. The sun was barely up when I opened the bedroom door. I hadn't slept. I could hear her breathing slow and steady under the comforter, back turned, like nothing in her world was broken. I stood there for a minute, watching the rise and fall of her shoulders. Then I flipped on the light. She groaned and pulled the covers tighter. Ugh, what time is it? We need to talk, I said. She rolled onto her back, squinting up at me. Josh, seriously? Can it wait? No, I said. It can't. She sat up, rubbing her face, clearly annoyed. Fine. What's so urgent? I stayed standing. Last night. That party. Your family. You. She blinked. Okay, what about it? You all laughed at me. You laughed at me. She scoffed. It was a joke. You're taking it way too seriously. No, Tara. I'm not. That wasn't some dumb prank. That was you and your entire family making me the punchline in a room full of people I helped make rich. Oh my God, here we go. I built half the systems that company runs on, I said, stepping closer. I gave them 7 years of my life. I worked weekends, holidays, through the flu, through family vacations, just to keep that damn platform from falling apart. And your dad thanked me by laying me off in a group email, then handed Rachel a new title and a $60,000 car after she's been there less than a year. Tara crossed her arms. You're jealous of Rachel now? Seriously? I'm not jealous, I snapped. I'm pissed. And I'm done pretending like this is normal. Like I should be grateful to be invited to a party where I get humiliated for sport. She rolled her eyes. You're overreacting. No, I'm finally reacting, I said. You know what the worst part is? You didn't even try to stop it. You didn't stand up for me. You laughed with them. She threw the covers off and stood. What was I supposed to do, Josh? Make a scene? Embarrass my family in front of investors? I stared at her. You're worried about embarrassing them? After they publicly trashed your husband like that? They didn't trash you. Yes, they did. I didn't yell, but my voice was sharp. Final. You've been choosing them over me for years, Tara. Every time they cut me out of meetings. Every time they rewrote my work and slapped Rachel's name on the patent. Every time you told me to let it go because it wasn't worth the fight. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. So I kept going. This marriage? It doesn't work anymore. I can't do it. Not like this. Her face changed. Panic finally flickered in her eyes. Wait, what? Are you saying you want to leave me? I'm saying I am leaving, I said. I'm moving out. I need space to think. To figure out how to undo the damage I let happen by keeping my mouth shut for so damn long. Tara stepped forward. Josh, come on. Don't be dramatic. You've had a rough couple of months. This didn't start a couple months ago. I cut in. This started the minute I became useful to your family. And the second I wasn't, they tossed me out like old office furniture. You're not being fair, she said, voice rising now. You think I haven't supported you? I was there through every late night, every meltdown. No, you were around. You were physically present. That's not the same as support. She looked down, arms still crossed, jaw clenched. I grabbed my hoodie from the chair and headed toward the door. I'll send you the address once I'm settled. I'm not trying to screw you over. But I'm not staying here just to keep pretending this marriage is something it isn't. Josh, don't do this. I already did, I said. And I walked out. I didn't look back when I closed the door behind me. I drove straight to a hotel in Sunnyvale, booked 2 nights under a fake name, and dropped face first into the mattress like I'd just survived a car crash. The next morning, I texted Miguel. Let's meet. I'm ready. He replied in less than a minute. Conference room at ARC HQ noon. I'll have the paperwork ready. When I pulled into the parking garage downtown, I felt that old pit in my stomach again, but this time it wasn't dread. It was nerves. The kind that come right before something big breaks loose. ARC Vantage Lab sat on the 12th floor of a glass-and-steel high-rise overlooking the bay. Not as flashy as Whitmore, but everything about it felt real. Clean. Focused. People moved with purpose. No gold-plated fountains. No fake smiles. Miguel met me at the elevator with a firm handshake. Good to see you, brother. You too, I said. This place is sharp. He grinned. Wait till you see what we're building. The conference room was minimalist. 2 walls of glass, whiteboard already filled with architecture diagrams, a silver MacBook open in front of an NDA, and a contract thick enough to break bones. Miguel slid it across. This is it. Full partner-level entry. Title, Chief Systems Architect. Salary solid, but the real weight is in the equity. I flipped through the pages, skimming fast. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about control, ownership, respect. Miguel leaned forward. You'll retain your IP. We've already started the legal transfers for anything you can prove came from your work at Whitmore. Everything built under your name, tied to your commits, your timestamps, it's yours. We'll file to formally detach it from any corporate claim they think they have. I looked up. Even if Whitmore tries to challenge it. They can challenge all they want, he said. Our legal team's ready. You did the work. We're just making sure your name's finally on it. I signed. It felt nothing like how I left Whitmore. No guilt, no second guessing. This felt earned. Afterward, Miguel gave me the full tour. R&D labs, real-time dev environments, test servers with unlimited resources, stuff I used to beg Charles for, only to get handed a budget cut and a smug be more efficient. You'll have full sandbox access, Miguel said. No red tape. No board approvals. You see something broken? Fix it. You've got authority now. My new office had no window view, but I didn't care. It had a whiteboard, a real desk, and most important, no one breathing down my neck pretending they knew more than me. I sat down, took a breath, and just stared for a second. This wasn't just a job. This was the start of something I built, not something I had to beg to be part of. Then my phone buzzed. Tara. I didn't answer, but I read the texts as they came in. Can we talk? I'm freaking out. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Are you really going through with a divorce? Josh, please. I locked the screen and slid the phone into my drawer. She wanted to talk now, after years of silence, after laughing in my face. No, not like this. I wasn't trying to punish her. I wasn't even angry anymore. Just empty, worn out from being the only one who ever fought for us. I stared at the contract folder on my desk, flipped it open, and ran my hand over the cover. The logo, the signature line with my name under partner. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about freedom. I was still sitting in my new office, laptop open, when the first headline hit my inbox. ArcVantage lands exclusive deal with former Whitmore engineer, shakes up federal tech sector. I clicked the link. My name was front and center, not hidden in the footnotes, not buried in some PR fluff. Joshua R. Keller, formerly of Whitmore Technologies, joins ArcVantage Labs as partner and chief architect of proprietary infrastructure supporting multiple federal agencies. It hit the wire like a lit match in a fireworks plant. Within an hour, 2 more outlets picked it up. By lunch, Charles Whitmore was trending on X, and not in a good way. A buddy of mine from inside Whitmore, Colin, texted me just one sentence. *T is melting over here. I couldn't help it. I smirked. On the other side of town, Charles was in full meltdown mode. The boardroom at Whitmore had become a war zone. Half the execs trying to spin the news, the other half throwing around legal threats like confetti. He took the patents, one of them shouted. Not took. They were never ours, someone else corrected. They were tied to his name. We never filed proper ownership. Charles slammed his fist on the table. Why the hell didn't legal flag this? Their head of legal just sat there, pale, lips tight. We assumed he was an internal developer. No one requested attribution. That's not on us. Their stock dropped 7 points by 2 p.m. Another 4 by end of day. Total valuation lost. Over $500 million. But the worst blow wasn't financial. It was the press conference ArcVantage called at 4:30. Miguel stood at the podium with his usual calm confidence. Our new partner brings technology that not only supports secure federal infrastructure, it corrects fatal oversights made by competitors who failed to invest in their own systems. He didn't say Whitmore by name. He didn't have to. Reporters filled in the blanks. By 5, the Department of Energy issued a quiet statement confirming that existing contractors were being reevaluated after critical gaps were discovered in their security frameworks. Translation: Whitmore was screwed. And that contract I helped them land? Gone. ArcVantage was now the lead contender for the rebid. My phone blew up again. Missed calls. Emails. Old coworkers trying to act like they'd always respected me. Then Tara. What the hell is going on? Did you plan this? You're destroying everything. I didn't answer. I watched the fallout through the glass walls of my new office. Quiet. Calm. The opposite of the panic happening in boardrooms across Palo Alto. A part of me felt the sting. Not because I regretted leaving, I didn't. But because it was finally clear just how hollow all of it had been. The years I spent giving everything to people who saw me as nothing more than a workhorse. Even Tara. Especially Tara. And now, they were finally feeling the loss. I didn't celebrate. I didn't crack champagne or post cryptic tweets. I just got back to work. The next morning, the headlines were worse. Whitmore Technologies under federal review after losing key government contract. Sources: CTO's departure exposes cracks in Whitmore's core infrastructure. ArcVantage surges ahead as SEC opens inquiry into Whitmore CFO. I didn't even need to open the articles. I already knew what they said. Inside the Whitmore building, Charles had called an emergency board meeting before half the execs were even out of bed. Someone leaked the agenda online. Infrastructure failure, patent loss, client retention risk. He came into that room with his tie half done, face pale, eyes sunken like he hadn't slept. Because he hadn't. They own the IP now, he said flat out. It's gone. Silence. Rachel sat off to the side, nervously scrolling through her phone, like someone waiting for the fire alarm to stop ringing. She was supposed to be leading product strategy, but nobody was looking at her for answers now. Hell, most of them didn't even want her in the room. One board member asked, "How the hell did we let this happen?" Charles ran a hand through his hair. "Because we didn't think he'd leave. We didn't think he'd be smart enough to take his work with him." Wrong again, old man. I was back in the ARC office, sitting across from legal, when the first text came in. "Colin, this is insane. If I'd known how bad it was, I never would have stayed. You were right. We screwed you. I'm sorry, man." A minute later, another name popped up. "Sarah from DevOps. Wish I'd backed you when it mattered. Just wanted you to know." Too late. They weren't apologizing for what happened. They were apologizing because now they were stuck on a sinking ship. I turned my phone over and left it screen down on the desk. The next call wasn't a message. It was a direct outreach. Charles had someone from Whitmore's legal team contact ARC's office. They wanted a meeting. Private conversation. No lawyers. Just him and me. Miguel laughed when he saw the email. "Let me guess. They're about to try and buy back your own work." "Exactly." He slid the laptop across to me. A draft offer was already sitting in the inbox. 7 figures. Transfer of all patent rights. Complete NDA agreement. It wasn't tempting. It was insulting. I closed the laptop without even answering. "They still think this is about money." Miguel nodded. "They still don't get it." That same afternoon, the SEC announced an official probe into Whitmore's financial records. Owen Pike, the CFO, was already lawyering up. Apparently, the board had just discovered some creative accounting involving subcontractor billing and inflated R&D expenses. Rumor was, whistleblowers were already coming forward. Meanwhile, Rachel was tanking in real time. I heard from someone on LinkedIn that she canceled 2 major strategy meetings after internal devs started pushing back on her decisions. One even called her a rebranded mascot to her face. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. But she took the promotion. She took the Lexus. She stood on the stage while I got laughed out of the room. She could keep her seat now. See how far it got her with no tech to back it up. As for Tara, she kept calling. 10 missed calls by the end of the day. 3 voicemails. 1 long, rambling text. I didn't realize how serious this would get. "My dad's losing everything. Rachel's a wreck. You're really not coming back?" "No, Tara. I wasn't coming back. Not for the company. Not for her. That last night in our kitchen, when she called me dramatic and said I was overreacting, that was her moment to choose something different. She picked her side. Now she could stay on it." I didn't respond. I didn't block her either. I just stopped. Stopped explaining myself. Stopped defending my work. Stopped waiting for anyone in that family to get it. They wanted me gone. Now they could feel what it was like without me. I didn't feel guilty. Not for walking away. Not for letting it all fall apart behind me. I was knee-deep in system architecture planning when Miguel called. "Guess who just landed a 3-year federal infrastructure build-out?" he said, barely holding back a laugh. I leaned back in my chair. "Let me guess. Us." "Damn right. And your module is front and center. They're calling it the most stable framework they've ever seen." I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. Miguel kept going. "You saved our asses. You've already made this company stronger in 3 weeks than most people do in 3 years." Those words stuck. Not because they were flattering, because they were true. And they were earned. I hung up and went back to work, the kind that made me feel like I mattered again. Every idea I pitched, heard. Every flaw I fixed, credited. No middlemen. No family power games. That afternoon, an email landed in my inbox. Subject, Harper Quinn, Tech Insider Inquiry. I clicked it. "Hi Josh. I'm working on an in-depth expose about Whitmore Technology's collapse and would love to include your experience. Your patented system is now being referenced in 2 top MBA programs as a case study in undervalued engineering. Can we talk?" I just sat there reading that last sentence again. Undervalued engineering. That was me for so long. Not anymore. Then my phone lit up again. Breaking news alert. Whitmore Technologies sold an emergency acquisition deal. SEC confirms widening investigation. I tapped the headline. Charles's face was on the front page, looking 10 years older. Rachel was mentioned once, former VP of product strategy. They weren't even trying to save face anymore. It was over. I put my phone down and looked out the window. Our floor had a clear view of the bay. Calm water. Bright sky. Nothing like the chaos Whitmore was drowning in. I didn't feel joy. Not exactly. What I felt was clarity. I made the right call. I walked out when I should have. I took my work with me. I stopped letting other people decide what I was worth. And now? Now I was part of something real.